Of the myriad training reports pre-March, the one that stood out was Takayasu's pasting of Asanoyama at interstable practice. 13-1 was the score as Asanoyama repeatedly tasted dirt, his skills so belittled as to make writers question who the real Ozeki was. Asanoyama's praise of his strength, belt technique, and defensive prowess added to Takayasu's growing belief that his all-round game was approaching a new peak, beyond even the level he achieved as Ozeki. And with the desire to impress his newborn daughter serving as a new fuel resource, we began to believe Takayasu might finally come good on his promise to vie for the cup. Challenge he certainly did, in fact dominating the tournament highlights. But among all the whys and wherefores surrounding his eventual failure, and we will easily clear up this controversy, the most telling, I think, is the one almost buried by all that happened after it. You may have trouble recalling that he lost his first match, to Meisei, like so. Meisei, lacking power to compete head-on, and after some defensive thrusts, keeps to the right in search of a killer parry, which Takayasu's fine legwork avoids. What Meisei lacks in brawn, though, he makes up for with prize-winning technique, waiting for the drive, then expertly planting the left leg between Takayasu's to trip and throw. And with the benefit of hindsight, how significant this all seems. The parallels with Wakataka Kage scream to be noticed, alongside something else. Takayasu frequently loses on opening day, post-injury almost always. However splendid his improvements in training, winning a title requires a fighter to hurdle psychological barriers of precisely this kind. On day one, he didn't, and we should remember this going forward. On day 2, buoyed by his interstable success, he transferred practice ring form to the matchday ring, deploying masterful right arm and hip swinging defense on Asanoyama's outside left, then constricting his inside right with a clamping frontal left. Takayasu's March 2021 was now underway. A first meeting with Shima no Umi was settled with phenomenal upward driving pushing power, nigh impaling Shima's pectorals on his spine. And day 4 saw him exploit winless Daieisho's high elbow at the fourth attempt for a win by parry to move 8-3 ahead in their rivalry. On day 5 he was efficient, taking Kiribayama's feeble pull as an offer to thrust without pause. Then his good record against Mitake Umi continued. Star billing this time given to his left-hand talents, evident both on the inside and out. Day 7 dealt him another monumental test of stamina against grunting grappler Takarafuji, which he passed with flying colours, snapping off his foe's outside grip and then throwing with gusto. That set him up nicely for the bout with fellow joint leader Teruno Fuji on the middle Sunday. Here, a faultless display built upon an aggressive parry, scoop, and overhand grip gave him the spoils. But the size of the barrier smashed was not so great as to transform his mindset. A high-stakes match he may have won, but against a foe he was well used to beating. 9 times in 10 to be precise. How he handled his first stint as sole tournament leader would be more enlightening. Significant indeed would be a win on day 9 against a man who frequently troubles him. And by Onosho's own admission, this time he had all the power shoved out of him. But it was Takayasu's composed handling of another tricky opponent, Takayasu, which seemed to cast him as champion in waiting. Some hefty hooks of his own helped draw the thrusting battle and enforce the nuzzling battle, in which the shorter Takayasu's patience was always likely to crumble. Now 2 wins ahead, Takayasu was guaranteed the lead until at least day 13. Which lulled us into thinking he could afford to lose to Shodai. Mathematically he could, but psychologically, as a would-be champion, he couldn't. The gloomy message he received from day 11 defeat was that even his best winning run in 3 years could not help him banish old foibles. His stronger left arm looking just as weak against Shodai as it usually did. A second key mental hurdle had snagged his trailing leg. Still, we overlooked, and approached day 12 with boundless optimism. And the awesome parrying power displayed more than papered over cracks in confidence. The lead, in some form or other, would still be his until day 14. But however much its existence was denied by wrestler and fans alike, a third, most crucial mental hurdle had come into view. While eyeing up his main March rivals, journalists, building on a theme from his Ozeki days, seemed all too keen to remind him. They all have titles. Why don't you? The answer to that, I suspect he examined more than us before stepping in to face Wakataka Kage. Though he narrowly trailed their head-to-head, he'd won their most recent match handsomely, and I'm sure you'll agree, was expected to pull through. And he did pull through! 11-2! Was it? No! Contrary to internet rumour, and even ignoring the fact the ankle most likely touches down here, either the knee or the shin does go down first. The result of a drag back at that last moment to save toes from being warped in the rope. The belief had drained away before then, though. From the point Waka beat him at his own parrying game, then constantly outran even his most agile efforts. In the space of just 3 days, his 2-point lead had been wiped. Why, despite his much extolled ability, had he never won a title. The root causes must lie in his Tagonoda stable, which has, if perhaps not a culture, undeniably a history of coming second. Kisenosato came runner-up a total of 12 times, 4 in a year, thrice in a row, sometimes from squandered winning positions. Takayasu observed every one of these events from the closest quarters. And the 2 trophies Kisenosato ultimately won were owed to the support of something Takayasu can never have: a Takayasu by his side to defeat key rivals. On day 14, despite the tremendous support from his fans, I had scarce seen Takayasu look so alone, staring at that hurdle with a tidal wave of expectation coming up behind. Tobizaru's rich repertoire and brash manner made him a frightening foe at this stage. Takayasu's tension was apparent in the initial charge. It was like fighting 2 men at once, with such speed did the attacks move from leg to chest to throat. Somehow Takayasu held on, and despite handling a loose belt, did seem to have established some measure of control. But no, he was as stiff as Tobizaru was free to fight for fun and try out new moves. And the look on Takayasu's face told us all, long before the judges convened, that this one had worked. Within minutes, the sense of déjà vu was complete. Takayasu would enter the final day in second. He was 11-all with Aoyama in their previous 22, and weighed down by both pressure and despair. The result and its manner were no major surprise. But it's important to celebrate what this new father achieved. 10 wins, marking the start of an Ozeki run, 9 wins straight, and 5 of those against top Sanyaku opponents. The only top ranker he lost to was, of course, Nemesis Shodai, against whom the foundations of a successful title challenge must surely be built. Takayasu emerges from March with a far clearer grasp of the barriers to be hurdled. Let's hope that the next time he leads, it's right from day one.